touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown, Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for another episode of The Process. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribers, be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we drop content each and every time on our YouTube page. As always, I'm here each week to break down the latest in Crimson Tide football recruiting news. And on this episode, I want to talk a little bit about the Crimson Tide's 2024 recruiting efforts as they continue to extend new offers. Also, they are trying to hold on to their verbal commits as they continue to get more interest from other programs. And we're actually going to start today's show off by talking about one of those guys and five-star athlete Jalen Mbakwe, of course, out of Clay Chalkfield High School in Pinson, Alabama. When you take a look at Mbakwe, he's easily one of the top prospects in the 2024 recruiting class. Five-star athlete who could easily play on either side of the football at the next level. Of course, the Crimson Tide like him at defensive back. We had opportunity to see him in action actually when we checked out the True Exposure Championship 7v7 tournament in Hoover over the weekend, and Mbakwe made plays on both sides of the football. Like I said earlier, he could play either once he gets to the next level. We take a look at some of the film we were able to obtain. Of course, this great footage was shot and produced and edited by our producer John Ivory at TouchdownAlabama.com. But when we take a look at Mbakwe, he was back making plays coming off an injury during his junior season, also coming off of a state championship win in the 60 meter dash in the indoor state championship in the 6A rankings inside the state of Alabama. So Mbakwe looks to be back to normal. And like I said, with so many prospects getting new offers, schools starting to put more interest and more emphasis on 2024 recruits now that the 2023 recruiting class is out of the way. Schools like LSU, Clemson, Auburn, Miami, just to name a few, are really making a hard push for Mbakwe, and which is what you expect when you are as talented as Mbakwe. LSU actually put a track scholarship on the table for him. He visited LSU recently. He said he has high interest in the Tigers, but he's still locked in, very locked in with Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, or Oregon, or some other schools that are really showing a lot of interest in Mbakwe at the moment. So the Crimson Tide are going to try their best, like they always do, to hold on to this talented athlete. He's still locked in, but this is going to be a battle. I want to say like a battle because I think Mbakwe is locked in with the Alabama. I just know that teams are not going to stop recruiting him until he just officially shuts things down in the future. But I expect him to enjoy his recruitment to an extent, continue to take possibly some more visits even during the fall, because you know if you are a recruit, you're going to want to go to some top games if you got an opportunity to go visit some schools. So Mbakwe remains locked in with the Crimson Tide. Speaking of the Crimson Tide extending new offers, they recently offered Cameron Pruitt, a 2024 defender out of Theodore High School in Alabama in the Mobile area. When you take a look at Pruitt, I list him as a defender because I think it is some question marks surrounding what position he will play at the next level. He looks like he will most likely play safety at 6'3" and 190 pounds when you take a look at his frame, but he's a guy who's one of the hardest hitters in the nation, in my opinion. When you take a look at his auto film, it has been a while since I've seen a defensive back make the type of hits that Cameron Pruitt makes. It seems like every tackle that he attempts to make is going to be a hard hit, but he's an all-around athlete for Theodore High School. Looks pretty good in coverage as well. Shows some great efforts. When you see him running down on kickoff, he's one of the first guys down. So there's a lot to like about Pruitt. Like I said, the Crimson Tide offered him. He said he felt grateful to get an offer from the Crimson Tide. Of course, he knows that the Tide is a program that's going to grind and they're going to work hard. He's also the cousin of the Crimson Tide's four-star linebacker commit Sterling Dixon. And after Pruitt got that offer from the Crimson Tide, we wrote a story about Pruitt, and Dixon reacted to that story saying that he was going to bring his cousin home to Tuscaloosa. So we'll see what happens. When I asked Pruitt about the possibility of him playing with Sterling at the next level, he told me that it would be great. They have talked about it since they were kids, but he has to make sure that Alabama is the best place for him. He's easily one of the fastest rising prospects in the 2024 recruiting class. So his recruitment, he's got a lot to figure out with so many schools jumping in on his recruitment over the last month. When you take a look at January, he was easily one of the hottest recruits in the country. So we're going to see Pruitt try to work through things, try to see how everything looks in his recruitment. But I expect Sterling Dixon to make a hard push for the in-state prospect and the new Alabama targets. Speaking of in-state targets, the Crimson Tide are still recruiting Parker High School's 2024 four-star defensive lineman Jeremiah Beeman, who's working very hard to have a strong senior season for Parker High School. He's working with Coach L at step-by-step training in Birmingham, Alabama. An opportunity to travel out to see Coach L. As you guys can see, some more great footage from our producer John Ivory here at Touchdown Alabama. So we had an opportunity to gauge where Beeman was in his recruitment. He continues to keep things open at the moment, but he will return to Tuscaloosa next month to attend the Crimson Tide's Junior Day event on March 4th. He said he's also looking at possibly visiting the Auburn Tigers. He said he has a great relationship with Auburn's coaching staff, so he is looking forward to getting down to Auburn to visit their program with their new staff hired. Now, also is coming off of a visit to Clemson. He has a great relationship with the Clemson Tigers as well. He has a really good relationship with the Clemson Tigers defensive tackles coach Nicholas Easton. So we're going to see how their relationship continues to grow. He has a lot of interest in the Clemson Tigers. Also has a great relationship with Alabama's defensive line coach Freddie Roach. So things are pretty open for Beeman, but Crimson Tide really want him in that 2024 recruiting class. In my opinion, he's easily one of the most dominant defensive linemen in the 2024 recruiting class. A big, athletic, big man at 6'4", approximately 265 pounds. There's a lot to like about Beeman when you watch him play. So we're going to continue to cover Beeman as he continues to work through his recruitment. I think with Beeman and a lot of guys in this 2024 recruiting class, similar to the 2023 recruiting class, we're going to see a lot of guys test the waters in March, get out to as many schools as possible during the spring, and possibly take official visits during the summer. I think a lot of guys, I think this is just a trend that we have continued to see over the last couple of recruiting cycles. A lot of guys want to be committed before their senior seasons begin. So we're going to see a lot of guys take visits in March. Beeman is going to take a lot of visits in March, get out to many schools as possible during the spring, so you know which schools you want to officially visit during the summer. You get out to those schools and make a decision before your senior season begins. I'm not sure if Beeman is going to do that, but I think a lot of 2024 prospects are going to look at that possibility. Again, Beeman considering some of the top schools in the country, including Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, are just a few of the schools pushing really hard for him. Miami, schools all over the country really want Beeman in the 2024 recruiting class. Like I said, he will return to Tuscaloosa on next month when the Crimson Tide hosts their first Junior Day event in March. Now we're going to move outside the state to close today's show, starting with tight Anthony Smith, a 2024 linebacker out of Texas who picked up an offer from the Crimson Tide on February 1st. That offer came from Alabama's outside linebacker coach Coleman Hutzler. Smith plans to visit the University of Alabama on March 4th. He will join Beeman as one of those prospects who will be in Tuscaloosa for the Crimson Tide's first Junior Day event in March, which is shaping up to be a pretty loaded event even this far out. Just take a look at some of the guys who have already confirmed that they will be or plan to be in Tuscaloosa. Just looking at Beeman and Smith, guys who we have talked about on today. When you take a look at Smith, he's a smooth linebacker prospect who has shown the ability to play in space really well, can play sideline to sideline, seems to be one of the rising 2024 prospects. A lot of prospects in this 2024 class are rising at the moment, which is why over the next couple of weeks you probably hear me say a lot of guys are rising, because a lot of new offers are being handed out across the country. So you're going to see a lot of guys see a boost in their recruitment. And when you take a look at Smith, he is one of those guys, like I said, pick up that offer from the Crimson Tide on February 1st, planning to be in Tuscaloosa on March 4th when the Crimson Tide hosts that Junior Day event. So he will get an opportunity to return to Tuscaloosa because he actually visited Alabama and camped in Tuscaloosa over the last summer. When you take a look at his recruitment, he has offers from some of the top schools in the country. When I asked him about his Alabama offer, of course, he felt blessed to get an offer from the Crimson Tide. Had some good things to say about Nick Saban. Be sure to check out that story over at touchdownalabama.com. Going to close today's show out by talking about 2025 four-star quarterback George McIntyre out of Brentwood High School in Brentwood, Tennessee, who recently picked up an offer from the Crimson Tide. The thing that's really interesting about McIntyre is that his offer came from Alabama's new offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese, and he's the first quarterback prospect to get an offer from the Crimson Tide with Reese on staff. McIntyre is a 6'5" quarterback who can move really well for a 6'5" prospect. He is a guy who seems to have a really nice arm, nice touch on his deep ball. His mobility is something that's really surprised me. His ability to just move around the pocket and continue to keep his eyes downfield, keep plays alive. Like I said, he's a tall guy at 6'5", a bit on the slim side. Says he's listed at 190 pounds, but he's a really skinny kid, as you guys saw on that picture. He plans to be in Tuscaloosa this spring to visit the Crimson Tide, possibly in March. Wouldn't surprise me. He possibly got down to Tuscaloosa during that Junior Day event, either at when the Crimson Tide will host some of the top prospects in multiple recruiting classes for that March Junior Day event. But Tommy Reese is on the recruiting trail officially for the Crimson Tide. Of course, the Tide have a commitment from one quarterback prospect in the 2024 recruiting class, and Julian Sand, who Reese had a relationship with dating back to his time at Notre Dame. Had an opportunity to catch up with McIntyre, discuss his offer from the Crimson Tide. Told me that he feels Alabama is Alabama. Their name speaks for itself. So he's also looking forward to seeing what Reese can do with Alabama's offense now that he is the Tide's offensive coordinator. But that is what I wanted to talk about on today's show. Be sure to hit that like button before you leave. Hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit that notification bell. Be notified and drop content on the YouTube channel. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. After you leave there, go over to the Apple App Store if you have an Apple device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. If you have an Android device, be sure to go to the Google Play Store and download the app as well. With that app, breaking news notifications can be sent to your mobile device. As always, I am Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.